The Book TV bus is traveling the country, visiting bookstores, libraries, festivals, and authors. Here are some of the people and places we visited.
We're here at the West Virginia Book Festival with George Brosi, editor of Appalachian Heritage. Mr. Brosi, tell us about Appalachian Heritage.
Well, it's a literary quarterly, comes out 4 times a year. It was founded in 1973 by a mountain poet by the name of Albert Stewart. And in 1985, it came to Berea College in Berea, Kentucky, after it had a hard time surviving economically. It was adopted by Berea College. And so it's in the unusual situation of being an academic journal that is sponsored by an undergraduate college. Of course, you know, the Kenyon Review is an example of it's not totally unprecedented, but most academic journals are at universities, not colleges.
And who are some of the authors that you feature?
Well, we did a issue after Mary Lee Settle died. I think many of your readers are aware of Mary Lee Settle and her work in founding the Penn-Faulkner Awards and the Beulah Quintet, a series of 5 novels all set here in West Virginia. And of course, she was a leading literary light of her era. And that issue actually was such a delight to work on. Of course, we had to work with her eccentric son, the goat herder, and we had to work with her editor, and we had to work with the executive of her estate in order to do it. George Garrett, the former poet laureate of Virginia, was very helpful to us in making contacts, and each featured author for each quarterly magazine, we have a piece by the author, and we did get a pre-publication piece of her memoir, Learning to Fly, from Mary Lee Settle for that issue, and we have some literary criticism, and then we have a piece of literary biography to put the author into context. Your readers have probably also heard the name Thomas Wolfe, and we did an issue featuring Thomas Wolfe. That was about 3 years in the making. I was traveling in Eastern Kentucky at a little Christian college in Eastern Kentucky, and a friend in the English department there told me that he had just been elected president-elect of the Thomas Wolfe Society. So in the next term, he would be president. And so he applied to go to the Houghton Library in Harvard and look at the Wolfe papers. And I sent a letter of support for his grant to do that. And then and of course that took a long time. Then he got the grant, then he made arrangements. He traveled to the library in Cambridge, and he found these fabulous, previously unpublished prose pieces by Thomas Wolfe that we published in the magazine. And then we got Edward Aswell's daughter wrote a little piece for us, you know, his editors, the daughter of his editor, and then we got he has a nephew, the only surviving relative that actually had a relationship with Thomas Wolfe. He is a retired physician in his 90s, and he wrote a little piece for that issue. So, and then we had historical photographs, some that people hadn't seen before. So those are 2 examples of people. Then we also like to have featured authors that are relatively unknown. A Crystal Wilkinson, a young black woman who grew up on Indian Creek in Casey County, Kentucky, raised by her grandparents. A perfect example of a black person that grew up in the kind of Appalachian culture that caused the Library of Congress to, until recently, classify the region as, quote, mountain whites. But of course, as you know, this region has a tremendous diversity. And fortunately, the Library of Congress changed that designation about 5 years ago.
What's the mission of the magazine?
The mission of the magazine, we want to be the single subscription that a person can get and stay abreast of what's happening in the literary world of Southern Appalachia.
George Brosi, editor of Appalachian Heritage. Mr. Brosi, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
For more information about the Book TV Bus, visit our website at booktv.org/booktvbus.